Hello friends, and welcome to jwreasoning.com. I wanted to do this video because this is actually a rebuttal or an examination of a video that the Watchtower just produced. I just saw it last night. This is actually December the 8th, 2020 when I'm recording this, and I watched it last night and I couldn't help myself. I had to do a video on this, and let's just have a look, and we'll stop throughout and we'll just make a few observations. So take a look.
In today's media, much of what's presented as fact is often colored by emotion and personal opinion. Jehovah's Witnesses, however, remain committed to defending God's Word, the Bible, as the standard for truth.
Is that true? Do they really use the Bible as the standard for truth, or is it the organization itself? If we use the Bible as the standard for truth, do we need the organization to interpret it for us? Let's continue.
As Jesus said at John 17:17, "Your word is truth." The wide-ranging subject matter contained in the publications of Jehovah's Witnesses is painstakingly researched by their writing research department. Their research methods are modeled after that of Bible historians, such as Luke and Jeremiah.
Did you catch that? These research methods are modeled after such Bible historians as Luke and Jeremiah. Were they Bible historians? What record do we have that they were Bible historians, that they actually recorded these things? We know that Jeremiah wrote, we know that Luke wrote, but what evidence do we have that they were Bible historians? It's kind of odd. It's almost kind of like they're trying to build their own credibility here. But let's continue on.
Reliance on reputable first-hand sources.
We're not looking just for someone's opinions or what someone believes about a topic.
If the material is socially or politically biased, for example, we can't rely on it. We look for objective material.
So if the material is socially or politically biased, when we look at the Watchtower information, is it biased in some way? Is it socially biased? Is it politically biased? I guess it could go either way on the political thing. They say they're not political, but in many ways they are. When you write a letter or have a letter writing campaign to a country like Russia and you're trying to persuade them to do a certain thing, that seems to be a political maneuver. But let's keep going.
We cover everything from historical, scientific, geographical, flora, fauna, space.
So before the script is even written, we'll provide a research package, and we'll follow the project till final delivery to make sure that everything that is said, everything that is shown is solidly based in fact and it's well researched.
Is that true? Are the things that we see in the pages of the Watchtower and the Awake magazines and in the publications, are they all fact? Are they all true? Nobody's going to bat 1,000. We're going to make mistakes. The problem is when there is a mistake made, do they admit it? Do they say we were wrong, we made a mistake, we have to correct something that we did wrong? Now, maybe it's there and I've just never seen it, because I can't say that I've read everything that the Watchtower has published, but in the thousands of pages of their literature that I have read, I have never seen them make a retraction and say, we were wrong, we were mistaken. Let's continue on.
One of our main research tools is our own library system. We have about 65,000 books and other research materials.
Now this is very true. The Watchtower organization had, at least when I was an elder, had an extensive library at the Brooklyn facility up in Bethel. In fact, they have a disc. I don't know if you were aware of this or not, but I knew a brother who actually worked in the garage at that time, and his wife worked in the research department, actually in the legal research department. And I happened to be in her office one day, my wife and I were there, and I noticed an old Watchtower publication that was cited on the screen, and I asked her about it. And she says, oh yeah, this is the old CD-ROM. She says, we have every publication on this CD-ROM from 1879 to current. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but the Watchtower CD-ROM only went back to 1950. So I asked her, can I get a copy of that? And of course the answer was no, you can't get a copy of that. So isn't it interesting that they have the information there, that it's available? They have actually books from many different denominations. They have Daniel and Revelation books from different denominations. And I find it very disturbing that they can look at this material. The research department can look at it. The Bethel Library, if you're a Bethelite, my understanding is that you have access to that. Maybe someone who is a Bethelite can clarify that for me. But the ones that I have talked to have said that, yeah, we had access to the Bethel Library, and we could go in and we could look through publications. Why can they do it? But we, as the rank and file witness, and even elders in the congregation, are discouraged from reading other material other than Watchtower books and publications. But let's continue on with the video.
Things that you think are true because they are commonly known may not actually be totally accurate.
Quotes need to be verified. We want to go to the first-hand source, the original source for that quote. That's one thing. And secondly, context matters. We want to quote things properly.
Very true. Context matters. I've done a number of videos on context, on Bible context. Wouldn't that be the case if we're doing that with reporting the facts? If we're doing that with reporting something, isn't context important when we're reading the Bible? When we're reading a Bible verse? When we're telling 8.5 million people that this is how you apply this particular verse? Context should be everything, and especially when you're reporting, and when you're reporting accurate information to the rank and file witnesses.
When Gandhi and Lord Irwin came together, Gandhi said, "When your country and mine come together on the teachings of Christ and on the Sermon on the Mount, then we will have solved the problems of our countries and the world." So we researched it. No one could confirm that those two men ever met. So it's a great quote. Now, that doesn't mean he didn't refer to Jesus or even the Sermon on the Mount, but that particular one we couldn't use.
I hope you paid close attention to that. When I heard this on the video, I nearly came out of my chair and I said, wait a minute, let me rewind that and hear that again. And I listened to it again, and he did say what I thought he said. And I immediately, I don't know if of many of you, if you remember, but in the knowledge book, there was a quote. And I remembered this because I had used this quote. I used it to show the power of Jesus' writings to the people, to political powers, to people who had authority in the world according to others. But let's take a look at this. This is the knowledge that leads to everlasting life, page 16, paragraph 11. Here's what it says. This sermon, talking about the Sermon on the Mount, this sermon so impressed the late Indian leader Mohandas K. Gandhi that he reportedly told a British official, "When your country and mine shall get together on the teachings laid down by Christ in this Sermon on the Mount, we shall have solved the problems not only of our countries, but those of the whole world." Right out of the pages of the knowledge book. Now let's go back once again and let's listen to what this brother just said.
When Gandhi and Lord Irwin came together, Gandhi said, "When your country and mine come together on the teachings of Christ and on the Sermon on the Mount, then we will have solved the problems of our countries and the world." So we researched it. No one could confirm that those two men ever met. So it's a great quote.
We researched it, and no one could ever prove that these two men ever met. It's a great quote, he says. It's a great quote. It's quoted in your publications. You're saying that it's not valid, that this is not good reporting, yet are you guys even paying attention to what you're doing up there in New York? Are these brothers, are they paying attention to these videos that they're putting out? Look this up for yourself, friends. Listen to that again. He's saying it's a great quote, but it couldn't be proven. That's bad reporting.
Now, that doesn't mean he didn't refer to Jesus or even the Sermon on the Mount, but that particular one we couldn't use.
But you did use it. He did use it. Let's continue on.
So the research work we're doing, sometimes it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. Sometimes we don't find what we were expecting to find.
And what do you do in those cases? Do you make it up as you go along? Or do you go along with what's reported and report the truth? What about when it comes to things like child sex abuse and the things that the organization has been called on? Why aren't these things reported? It seems to be a one-sided news report. You know, if the organization were more transparent about these things, I think they would be keeping more members than they're losing. I really do. I think transparency is so important. Just being open and honest gives credibility. But covering things up when you have to dig and you uncover these things, it hurts the credibility of any person or any organization.
But it's very gratifying because we're helping produce accurate information that our readers can rely on. Reliable information will help us make good, informed decisions.
Anyone who reads our journal, who sees our videos, can be confident, well, this was thoroughly researched. These are facts. This is the truth.
They can be confident that this was thoroughly researched. Why? Because it was done by Jehovah's organization. That's really what's being said. And if you don't believe that's what was being said, let's continue watching the video.
So when you consider the printed publications of Jehovah's Witnesses or peruse the jw.org website, you can be confident that the material is carefully researched and accurate. Why? Because Jehovah's Witnesses are a people who love and respect the truth.
We can trust it because Jehovah's Witnesses can be trusted, because Jehovah's organization can be trusted, because Jehovah's organization did it for you. There's no need to check. There's no need to proof it. There's no need to do any research on your own. We have done it for you. So I'd like to share a text in Acts chapter 17, verse 11. Now these were more noble-minded than those in Thessalonica, for they accepted the word with greatest eagerness of mind, and they trusted everything the Watchtower said. I'm sorry, I'm being facetious. They carefully, it says, carefully examining the scriptures daily to see whether these things were so. So we need to do this with the Bible. Of course, we have to do that with the Bible. Unfortunately, most of us as rank and file witnesses and even as elders, we just follow because the organization says. And now they're saying, even in their news, you just believe it because we've put it in our publications and we are trustworthy. You can trust us. Have they proven that they can be trusted? Do you feel like they can be trusted? I'm sure many of you, if you're still in, you're saying yes, they can be. But do an honest evaluation, an honest examination of the things that they put in print, of the things that they say, of the things that they cover up, the things that they're not reporting. Friends, just keep an open mind, think critically, keep studying your Bibles, and may Jehovah bless you as you continue in your studies.